Hello, Billy the Artist here. We have done Ariana Grande, how to draw her. Now, the reason I'm doing this is I'm splitting this video, because it was over 4 hours long, into 4 parts. Check out the link in the cards to the full 4-hour video if you want to just access that. And there is also the short time lapse where the full lesson is condensed into under 3 minutes so you can see the lot together. So do check that out, do share, please do like and subscribe. But the reason I'm doing this and splitting it into 4 parts is because the automatic subtitles, the captions, don't appear on videos that go too long. So that's why I'm splitting it down, to help those who need the subtitles. Anyway, it's just something that I discovered where somebody messaged me and contacted me both through YouTube and then emailed me, because the subtitles actually help them and help them with their drawing, to use my drawing videos. So anyway, that's a great thing. That's why this is in 4 parts. So do share them out, and I'll see you in the next drawing video. Hello, Billy the Artist here, back with another how to draw lesson, and today we are going to be doing Ariana Grande. Now, this looks like it could be quite complex, but it isn't, because we're going to use the simple shapes. Anyway, please do like and subscribe for new how to draw videos. We're going to do lots and lots over the next few weeks. We have done previously though Billie Eilish as a full how to draw lesson. Check out the how to draw portraits, because that's where these are going in. But we also have over 120 videos on my how to draw playlist that cover so many subjects, lots of cartoon characters, absolute basic stuff, which all leads to doing these kinds of portraits. Now again, on the portraits playlist, we do have these 5 fellas. So anyway, right now we have, these are the gentlemen from SAS, Who Dares Wins. They are the directing staff. So we've got Foxy, we've got Ollie, we have Billy, we have Jay the Mole, and we also have Ant. Now, this is from the Channel 4 programme SAS Who Dares Wins. There's a celebrity one at the moment, and there's lots of them out there, so do check those fellas out. But again, I'm using very simple techniques, and that's what we've got in here. And again, the same with Billie Eilish. Now, again, we have the Harry Potter how to draw playlist. So again, Harry is helping lots of people. Do use the hashtag drawingwithbilly on social media, and lots of people have been enjoying doing the Harry Potter. Primary school shared out one of their year 6s, Isaac I think his name was, which was absolutely lovely to see people of all ages enjoying drawing Harry Potter, which is great. We do have the Dark Lord Voldemort himself. Most recent one is, it's not Harry, it's the Sorting Hat. So it's Gryffindor or whoever, you know, whether you're Slytherin or anything else like that. And again, it just made me laugh thinking of my daughter who, when she saw the drawing, she just said something like Grufflepuff or something. Just mashed the names together. It could be, like I say, just good fun. But that was great to actually do the Sorting Hat, because again, it's using the Sorting Hat simple shapes. And then underneath those 3 we do have Draco, Snape and Professor Albus Dumbledore, and there is the young Dumbledore as well, plus others from Fantastic Beasts. But these are done using simple shapes. Now I use these grids. If you check out in the cards right now, there is a link to how to lay down these grids. And again, on the paper that we will be doing Ariana on, we have the 2 centimetre grid, just like Billie Eilish. Now, check that out, and I'll show you how to lay down this grid to actually produce the work that we're doing. But I use simple shapes. Again, check out the link right now in the link in the cards, and it's in the description to how to draw anything part 1. I use these simple shapes to make it really easy to break these drawings down. And so here we have Billie Eilish, and again, you can check out the video in how to draw portraits. And it was just great to do this because she's got this very flat tone, but we've got all of the hair. Now, I had somebody asking about doing hair, and in every portrait one, pretty much, I have people with hair. And again, Ariana, we have lots of hair in this picture to do today. Now again, how to draw anything part 1 using the shapes. We're going to use these grid lines to help plot everything. Again, check out the banner. The dimensions for the grid lines are all in there. Now again, this 2cm grid, the reason we've got this little border around the edge of a 5mm border, and this one looks a bit thin on this side, the reason being is because the paper is a little bit thin, and that's just how it's been guillotined. And sometimes you will find that, but A4 paper should be 210mm by 297. That's 21cm by 29.7cm. And I've got what is the centre line at 105, which is why we've got this grid. Now again, this 2cm grid will help you and put the grid down, and then we can put the shapes down on top of it, and it will break it down. So even a very complex portrait like Ariana will be very, very simple when we actually use the shapes. So now we are going to get in and get on with drawing Ariana Grande. And this is going to be good fun because it's just such a great striking image, and her hair is just phenomenal. Just makes great shapes as it comes down, and she's great at posing, and the lighting will help. Now you may think that this is going to be quite difficult because of the tonal. Again, we're just going to have fun. Now I'm going to start off with my trusty 2B pencil. I will be using 2B and 4B, probably going to be using 2H. When it comes to actually doing the erasing, this is my putty rubber, which you can knead to a point, but this is now getting quite dirty. That's a brand new one. So I'm going to possibly end up using this today. And you can see that's pretty much the same colour as the paper. That isn't, because it's got lots of pencil in it. Now, for smudging, I use these smudging sticks, blending stumps. One manufacturer shop calls them tortillons. I don't know why, but there you go. And this is just rolled up compressed paper. Now, today I may end up actually using a brush. If you look in some of the portrait time lapses, you'll see me actually using a brush on Jenna Coleman especially, and it's just great for blending the tones. But we're going to be doing this relatively quickly. A full portrait that I do can take a couple of days, but we're going to try and get this done in a few hours like all the others. Now, if you don't have access to those blending stumps, you can use, we have the trusty kitchen roll, so we can use that. You've got tissue papers, but you also have your finger, but you do get kind of dirty. But you can use cotton buds. Again, just great for smudging, a little bit of direction and detail. You can actually smudge the same way that I use these blending stumps. You can get a little bit more detail using little cotton buds like that. So anyway, now that's the introduction. We are in. Again, please do like and subscribe for all future videos, and we will get on with drawing Ariana Grande. So again, we're going to start on the centre line, the 105, and you can come down between the 24 and 45 on this side, and I'm just going to put a line. It's kind of slap bang in the middle, little mark. And this is kind of almost like doing a dot to dot. So you can kind of see where a lot of the main points are. And you can see coming through here, there's going to be a point on a head where the top of a head comes down, and you see this knot of hair where it's curled around that creates the ponytail coming off the back. Now, that ponytail is a rectangle. Sorry, the knot, the kind of twist of hair around is just a rectangle. And you can see that. Now again, these lines are quite light. This is just cartridge paper, but this is a different one than I normally use. So the lines that have gone down, I didn't want to press on too hard because I didn't want to score in the paper. But the darker, you can put them on lighter than this. And I just didn't want to put them, but you can just see my grid. But again, I'm going to draw these shapes so that you can actually see them as we progress the picture along. So now going up to this 145, we can see here, and then coming down, we've got this curve of hair that comes all the way down, and you can see it's just like a kind of D shape. Now this is coming right the way down to coming through the 145 and between the 125. So we've got the 145 across here to the between 125 and 145 on the vertical, on the horizontal. And we can see we've just got this fantastic shape of hair that comes round. It's just a nice spiral that looks like, you know, it's like a D shape. And then that comes through there, and we want to carry this on over, and it comes over to the 65 and the 185. So we've got, there's the 65 and the 185. And this is just a shape. So here now we've got a rectangle. Now, dead on the 125 line, her hair comes down, and we've got a little rectangle of hair there. And then the rectangle carries on coming down. And we've got a hair right at the back. That comes all the way down. And then from the 225, we've got a triangle of hair that goes off the back. Now here we've got a V shape which makes a triangle there, and you can see how the hair is going to come down around off that part of that curve of the hair that comes around. So now right on the 105 line across from the 145, here just inside we've got a little circle which is the little pearl for Ariana's earring, and then we've got this nice simple line that comes down, and in the middle of this square we've got, I'm just going to put a little oval in, and that's the bottom of the earring, and then we can curve that line around and up, and I'm drawing the second line next to it, and that's the connecting bead of part of that earring that comes down. Now her ear, we've got the top of her ear which comes through the 125 line, and so I'm just drawing a little rectangle there, and then here we've got a little triangle, and then I'm going to draw a rectangle for her ear there. I'm just drawing a little ellipse. Well, it's a kind of rounded triangle, and that's the kind of inner part of her ear. Now, her hair going up, we've got a little rectangle there. We've got this fantastic set of highlight of her hair coming around the back of her head above her ear. So you can see now we've just got a little V shape there, and the hair curves up, and I'm just indicating going up to the 65 where her hair is, and then coming over the front of her forehead we've now got, I've drawn a straight line but it's a very slight V, and that's the line of a hair where it's then pulled back. Now we just want a curve, well, a slight curve that comes over and joins up, and that's the shape of the top of her head. Now if I bring this curve down, we can see you've got a little triangle in this square in the 65 line, and that comes down and starts, and right on the middle of the line we've got her eyebrow. So I'm just going to draw a little rectangle. I'm going to come down a little bit onto the 85 line, and we've got a rectangle for the top part of Ariana's nose. Then I want a little rectangle for the bottom part of her nose, and then a little box for the side part. Now her eye, I'm just going to put a rectangle in for now, and then indicate where the circle will be, and that's just a C shape. And then you've got her eyelash off the side, and her eyelash is just a triangle, so there's a little triangle there, and we can connect the top of her eye socket up to her eyebrow, and then we can draw that vertical line down where the shadow is for the top of her eye socket going to her nose. Now here, her cheek, we can see it's just a triangle, and then we've got a little rectangle at the top. I'm drawing this on relatively faintly. I'm not drawing it on as dark as I have done in previous drawings, because I just want to encourage you to go a little bit gentler and build up your construction lines smoothly. So now, right in this corner of her eye, a left eye socket, we've got a rectangle for the shadow. Now her left eyebrow, I'm drawing a simple rectangle there, and that goes across the 85 line. And then we want inside this square, which is the corner down here is 105, 105, and so you can see where the point is, and that's just going to have a triangle. And that's the shape of the eyebrow put in for you. Now again, her left eye, I'm now just drawing a rectangle. And then another little small rectangle, which will be the crease underneath her eye. Then we've got another little triangle there, and then a nice little rectangle there for the dark. We can see there we've got the top of her eyelash, and then a circle, just indicate a circle for her left eye. And we're just putting them in. You can see how the circle comes to the kind of centre of that square. So now we want to come down from the bottom of her ear, and you can see here this 145 line. You can see in the shadow we've got a triangle that comes just past the 25 line, and this is the bottom of a jaw, and you make a triangle up on that grid point, and then a little rectangle for her chin. Now we can just put in a rectangle for a bottom lip right to the edge, and then you can just put the curve in underneath for that bottom lip. Now a top lip, we're just going to put a triangle in here, and then a rectangle for where it goes over the top, and then a little triangle at the end, and then we've got her teeth are just two nice little rectangles inside, and then we've got a little rectangle for where the nose is there. But here you can see we've already got that line, and we've got the shadow already placed in because of the V that we put in for the side of a cheek. And then you've got the shadow that's going to come off, and then right in just past the centre we've got the crease from a nose coming down to the side of a mouth. So again, I'm going slowly, just putting these shapes in really quickly. Now again, just past the 45 and 145 in here, we've got Ariana's neck. And you can see how that comes down, and it's just like a tube. So you can see that, imagine a rectangle there. So you've got the line coming down there, and then you've got the line coming down off the back of her neck. Now you've got the strap on the top of her shoulder. And that's coming across these three boxes from just past the 85, and that's coming over to between the 45 and the 65. So there's just a rectangle there, long thin rectangle. It's a bit, you know, it's just like a lace, it's a strap that goes over. And then here we've got another one where that comes down the back, and then there's already some lines there. Now where we've got the hair coming down past the 205 line, we can see it just curves over and comes over the 105 line. And there we've got another triangle. And her arm goes down the side. Now here we've got a big C shape that comes down in the 225. You can see from the hair that comes down, you've just got this C shape that comes right the way down to the 85 line. So that's here. It's just inside. So we're just causing the shape of the C, and that hair is framing the edge of Ariana's left arm. Now we've got the top. So where this comes down, you've got a collarbone coming down to the front past the left shoulder, coming down, that's creating the front of the top that's coming down over her chest. So here at the bottom, I'm just indicating a line, and we've got a little V shape there. And then coming up we've got a rectangle, and then a rectangle coming over at an angle with a triangle at the top. Now again here we've got a little triangle that comes down, comes past the 25 line, and then a rectangle at the bottom there. Now that very quickly is a cubist, using the shapes to put down our basic construction lines for Ariana, and that just makes it really simple. In fact, I've just missed a couple. So here, coming off the head, we've just got a slight curve for that light that's coming down, and there's a rectangle there of that shadow. We can put a rectangle there for that highlight, rectangle there for that shadow, and we've got a triangle there of light, and that comes over. And then right in the highlight, I'm just going to indicate there where the light actually is falling, and then there's a triangle of shade there, and you can see there's a dark triangle of shade. So that's a bit better. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed just getting that first part down. We're going a little bit slower because I'm trying to explain and show you how simple it is. But we've put those light construction lines down on top of the grid, and now we're going to move on and put down a full outline, and then we'll start actually doing the shading. So now I'm going to put this paper on to rest my hand on so that I don't smudge the drawing. And now we're going to start, and we're going to detail up Ariana's left eye. So we've got these shapes that we've put in, and we can see how right from the 65 line here we've got the underneath part of her eye, right with the tear duct where that comes, and we've got this fantastic shape above as well where her upper eyelid is creasing, causes the crease in the shadow above her upper eyelid, and we know that that curves right down and comes past on the outside of this rectangle. And you can see as well, I'm just going to indicate slightly that shade in the corner of her eye socket going to past the point of her eyebrow. And then we've got that little highlight above. Now, got that little curve. Again, I'm still using the 2B pencil. And that curves up inside the rectangle that we drew. And it goes up and touches the 85 line here, inside that construction line. And it's, well, doesn't actually go right up and touch, it's just underneath. But you can kind of see the shadow just goes up that little bit. And then that curves down and over and comes down to the point here. And then you've got a nice triangle of shadow. Now I'm just filling that in. And then you've got her eyelashes. And they come and they actually just kick out a little bit. So we can follow that shape that we put in, and that's just above the halfway point. You can see it goes up a little bit and then curves over. And then we want the dark. Again, I'm just filling this in at first with the 2B pencil. We'll go in with a darker pencil later. And then we want the bottom of her eye, a lower eyelid, that curves and joins where a tear duct is. So we've got a little curve for the tear duct. And then it just curves around underneath her eyeball and her iris. And you've got that nice curved shape, and it's all very dark. Now we've got a highlight, a strong highlight there, but then we've got the shape of her eyeball. We put that C in, that C shape, and it curves down, touches the top of her lower eyelid, and you can see there's going to be a strong highlight there. So now I'm just pinching. This is my brand new putty rubber. I'm just pinching that to a point. To clean that highlight up. Again, I'm being careful because of the tonal qualities that I want to keep in this drawing. And then you can see, imagine the iris, the circle going all the way around. Now we've got this strong highlight, so I'm just drawing a circle, and then there's a second one right on the pupil. And then it's actually very dark right in the corner of her eye. And I'm just going to fill all of that in. Again, just covered that little highlight. Now we've got the shape of a tear duct right in the corner. And now you've got one eye starting to appear. So now if we come above, we can see right on the 85 line, we've got where her eyebrow crosses over. So now I'm following the shape of the eyebrow inside the construction lines that we actually put in. And then we've got the diagonal, how it comes up and then curves across and comes down to the point in the triangle that we drew. And then off the top, it's just, because of the hair that's in her eyebrow, it is slightly organic. It's not a perfectly straight line, so you can just kind of wiggle that a little bit right down to the point. And then I'm just going to indicate where the eyebrows are, but I'm sketching in the direction of the eyebrows. That's how you make them natural. So there's a shape in quickly. So again, now we're going to come over on and do a right eye. We can see here we've got this shadow on this line here, and it just curves and then comes around to the top of her nose. And we can follow the curve up to her right eyebrow. That goes through the 65 line, and we've got that curved shape coming over, and then follow it back down in the shadow, and that's the right eyebrow. So here in the shadow we can see we've got a vertical line, and that's the start of her eyebrow. So I'm just indicating where the eyebrows are inside. Now we're going to come down. We've got this construction line that we put in for Ariana's nose, and you can see how it comes across, and it's just a little bit underneath the halfway point of the 45 line. And then we've got this nice curve. Again, just think of a C shape. It comes right the way down underneath the 105 line in this little box, in this little rectangle that we actually put in. And that's the shape of the end Ariana's nose. That curves under. We want to, now we've got the side of her nose, of her left nostril. That's pretty much right on the centre line. This is like a D shape. You can see there's the construction line we've got in, there's a little bit of shade, and we've got this D shape that comes round to underneath. Now her nostril, it just comes over the 45 line. So we've got a little kind of horizontal part, and it just curves. It's like a kind of little curve over the top. Then we can follow the shape underneath, and then you've got the shadow right underneath, and then the bottom part of the nose comes underneath the nostril, and then we've got that little shadow shape there. Now you've got, all of a sudden, part of Ariana's face is starting to come to life. Now her right eye, you can see you've got this curve. Now we've got the square, the construction line that we put in for the actual box, covering the area that the eye actually went into, and then we've got this triangle which is her eyelash on her right eye. So you can see we've got that. I'm just going to put a little under curve on it because an eye is organic, it's not a flat line. But then you can see it just kicks off and goes through the 45 line. And then we've got the actual eyelashes themselves, so I'm just indicating those on the end. And that's the shape of those coming down to where you've got the upper eyelid that curves across and just comes straight down, and it's just past the halfway point. And I'm twisting the pencil just to keep it kind of sharp as well. And then you've got the fold of the eyelid above, which is leaving a little highlight. You can see how that curves up and joins and goes behind the eyelashes that you've drawn to the edge of Ariana's eye socket. Draw the curve. Now that you've got the very edge of her eyeball, and it's just inside. Now underneath here we've got the lower eyelid, and that curves across just past the halfway line. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil just so as I've got a sharp point, because we've done all of that drawing and it just wears it down. Again, just using the 2B pencil, and you can see how the upper part of a lower eyelid comes up to about a third, and we can curve that down to where it comes under right into that corner where a tear duct is. Now we can do the lower part, curve that down and around, and then you've got that lower shadow right underneath that comes through the 85 and 45. So the 85 come across, you can see how you've got that corner point there. In fact, we just missed off, we've got the construction line underneath. So you need the under part of Ariana's left lower eyelid. And that curves up towards where a tear duct is. So we've got the same here on this side. So now we can put the edge of her eyeball in, and we can now put the C shape in for her right eye, iris and eyeball. Again, I'm going to draw a little circle for the highlight, and then the second one just underneath. And it is the top, you can see it's just past the halfway point, and it curves down, and you've got that dark going all the way down. So I'm just filling in, not as dark as it will be, but just filling in the shape of her eyeball, and the same with her eyelash. And there we've got both of Ariana's eyes in on her face. So now for the lips, I'm going to start with the lower lip, and we can see we've got this nice soft curve that comes round, and it comes to this point. You can see where it matches up below the left nostril, and then bringing the line across underneath the teeth, we've got that fantastic shadow that's cast by her upper lip just on the lower lip, and it curves right into the corner. And then we've got the curve coming up to the top of her upper lip, and then we've got a little V, tiny little V of the upper lips, where you've got that part that then goes up between you underneath your nose. Got the highlight there, and we've got the shadow that comes off as well. And the shadow we can see goes right to the nostril, and that curves down, so you've got the shape coming down off her nose of that shadow and that little triangle above her upper lip. So now we've got the curve of a lip that comes down, comes past the 45 line. So it just gently comes down and then curves down a little bit more, and then curves out to join the edge of her mouth. Then the underneath of her upper lip just goes right through the 45 125 cross section there, curves over and joins the far edge, and then we've got a little bit of more shadow. Then we've got a teeth that are just indicated inside a slightly open mouth. So now we've got the main details of Ariana's face in. So now we can bring the rest of the outline for a cheek in. So we're coming off her eye inside the construction lines that we've actually put on. And we just want that nice gentle curve of a cheek. Coming down, it just comes down and then a slight little bump past the lips, and it curves back in to come to a chin. And then a chin touches below and curves back out just below the centre part of the square. And then you get the slight little flat part of a chin, comes through the 145 line. And then we've got this little triangle that we put in here. Again, we've got the curve just slightly, it's not straight, it's not a perfectly straight line, so it just curves coming past the 45 line, and then it curves ever so slightly to the edge of the jaw here. Again, we'll build that up with shadow when we start putting all of the tone in. And then you get that darker shadow line that comes round, and then the edge of the jaw comes up, goes through the kind of halfway point up to where the corner of her ear is, bottom of her earlobe. And her ear just curves off and comes round the pearl, the little pearl stud. And there you can see the face really starting to appear. Again, now we'll draw up the top of her head, coming all the way up, and we kind of put this dot to dot in. So I'm going to come off the forehead and just a slight curve of the forehead going up, over, now I'm going to come so as I've got the curve inside my hand. Just makes it that little bit easier. And you got a little point just this side of the 105 line, and then curves down slightly, comes through to where the knot is. And imagine the shape, it's a cylinder. So if you imagine a cylinder shape, that's the shape of a hair coming around, creating this wrap knot that she puts in to create a ponytail. And I've just indicated that dark line there, and then here we have, which will be the highlights, and I'm following the shape and flow of the hair in that knot. Now, as it curves up to the back, comes up to a point, and then starts to curve around and come down. The ponytail drops down the back. Inside the 185 line to where the 65 is, horizontal. And now this line comes down just inside, and we can indicate the hair all the way down. And you can see it comes out that little bit. We've got that darker line now coming all the way down. This dark triangle, the shadow caused by a hair just folding over the top. Then we've got that highlighted line. Now I'm resting my left hand on top of my right hand, just to give a little freedom in my wrist, and I can work from my shoulder as well. Now we've got this highlight here from the 85 to the 125, and it's just the direction of the hair creating the highlight. And we want this nice dark as the hair comes down and comes over the top of Ariana's shoulder. Now we're following that C shape. Just indicating, here we've got the hair that comes down, follows that C shape that we've just done, and then we've got some strands that come off, come down over the arm. We've got this V that we put in. And there, that's really starting to come together, but we're using the shapes. Again, it looks really complicated, but when you break it down into shapes and you use the form of the hair, it all of a sudden really starts to come together. So now I'm going to put in Ariana's ear. So again, I'm going to bring the paper just so as I can be a little more detailed. Sharpen the pencil, so I've got a nice point to work with. So here we've got the tip of her ear that comes past the 125 line. Now we just put in some shapes. Now we're going to refine it. The shape went a little bit too far, but that doesn't matter. That's why you put the construction lines in. It helps you. So you can see that it's not halfway, it's about there, the tip of her ear is. But we've got this nice little rectangle that we put in that's giving us the angle for the top part of her ear. And then it is this little diamond, this little V shape as it curves back down. So we come down into the next square, follow the construction line, and then you've got a flat part where the ear comes back across. So there you've got the V shape. You can see how that just comes down, and then here kind of comes through just below the halfway point, but it's pretty flat. And then it just kinks and goes diagonal a little bit over to the bottom of her earlobe where the pearl is, the pearl stud. Now coming up from a jaw, you've got the little kind of flap that's the entrance to her ear canal. And that's just a little kind of wiggle, and it's just inside the 105 line. And that comes up there. And you can see how we've got a kind of S shape. So that curves, and you've got that S shape, and then you can follow that curve around just above the line, the 125 line, just curve it to follow the shape and form of the ear, and then it curves out to the edge a little bit flat in that corner and then comes back down, makes the crease to the edge of the ear. You've got that highlight where it comes down. Now inside her ear now we've got a semicircle shape that you can see there, that's come up from where the little entrance to her ear canal is. So we can indicate that. We know that's going to be dark above. Now this crease in her ear, again, looks kind of complicated, but it's a Y. If you look there, you've got a simple triangle and then a tail that comes down like a letter Y. So you draw the shape following the line down. You can see there you've got the top of the Y and there's a little triangle of shadow that's above it. And we can follow that shape down and the tail of the Y comes down and curves around. And then we can draw the line above it. And then coming from above the little pearl stud, we've got a little rectangle, and that's that kind of crease that goes, again, it's the bottom part of the entry to her ear canal, and that's where that joins on. And then inside we've got this little shape. You've got a D there, but then there's a little V of shadow inside, and we'll just build all these up with the detail. But again, even inside that little ear section, I'm using simple shapes to build quite a complex shape overall, and that's looking pretty good. We've still got a few detail lines to actually put in, and then we'll have a complete outline down of Ariana. Now, going to just indicate the shadow underneath the chin. And again, there you can see it just becomes this C shape that comes round. Then we've got a neck, the front of a neck that comes down here, and it goes right through the kind of centre line. So bringing that line down, and then just as it comes, doesn't carry on a straight line, you can see how it curves across where it comes down over the top part of her chest where her collarbones are. So we need to just curve that down. So now the same at the back, we've got this little line here that where we did the imaginary of a tube of a cylinder. Here we put the box in, so it's the back part of a neck. We need to bring that in a little bit, and it just curves because you've got the shape of a hair coming down as well. And that curves out and goes then behind where this hair comes down. And then we've got the shape of a hair curves up and joins those shapes at the back, and then a ponytail, you can see, fills in there behind. So you've got this little rectangle of space, and there's just bits of wispy hair that will indicate and draw in at the later stage. And so now I'm just going to indicate up on her head and where the shadow lines are. So we've got the shape of a cheek coming down the side, and that's going to be shadow all the way down there, like we've done here underneath the chin, underneath the bottom lip on the front of a chin. And then we've got this oval of a cheek here. And then we've got this little shape on the front of the forehead, that triangle on the side where that dark shadow is, and then right on the edge coming down to her nose. And then inside her eyes, so we've got this little bit across the shade across the bridge of her nose, and then just on the shape on the top and the side we've got the construction line in, and we can just kind of follow and indicate another little triangle there, and that's where the shading is going to be on the side of her nose going up, and then you've got the dark right in that corner. And then coming off underneath her eye, we've got a highlight area here, but we've just got this little triangle coming down. So that's looking quite good so far. Now we need to just indicate the rest of her hair. So by her ear, and we've got these shapes that we put in. So you can see through the corner of the 125 and 105, that section of her hair then goes up. And then you've got this V shape here where the hair is curving up. And again, I've explained before, but someone recently put in a comment and said, oh, can I do a tutorial on hair? And there's always a tutorial on hair in a portrait like this. Follow the direction of the hair as if you were brushing it. So you can see that curve like a tick going up. It's a bit like the Nike logo, you know, you've got the swoosh going up. Now, all the way up, so we've got this darker line, and I'm going to indicate this all the way across. And then that's the darker part. I'm just twisting the pencil so as it keeps the point sharp. And the dark comes right the way across through the 125/65, and it goes up to the 105/45, and you can see that's where the light that's coming down starts to highlight a hair at the front, and then everything behind is black. Now I normally only use a 2B and a 4B. I'm probably going to use an 8B pencil in this, just so as I can get this nice soft black, very flat and very matte. Well, it won't be too matte because it's a graphite pencil. And some people would use charcoal pencils to get the flat blackness, but I'm just going for quick and speed. And most, if you've got a set of pencils, there's a good chance you've got something like a 6B or an 8B. Again, I'm just twisting the pencil, just keeping the sharp for all of the points of a hair. Now here you can see it starts to curve following the shape of a head. That's looking pretty good. Even just as an outline, that's really working well. So now we want to get this finished quite quickly. So I'm now going to follow the shape of this strap. It's coming down over the top of where a collarbone is and a shoulder. and it curves across where we put these construction lines in. Again, it's fabric, so it's organic. Now I'm drawing these lines quite dark. Not as dark as, well, fairly dark as I have done before. It's just so that I want you to see these, but you don't have to do these lines as dark if you want to then build up the dark tones later. So now here where the top comes down, you can see it comes down through the 45 and 225 line. These are your reference points. And you can see it just curves inside these shapes that we've made. And it curves down, comes down underneath the left arm where all of this hair is. So I'm now going to just draw on some hair as well. And that'll also guide where the shadows are and the tone on her arm. I've just noticed we've got the shadow coming underneath the chin here, but we've got a crease in her neck. And it goes right through this cross point on the 85 165. And that crease just comes over as she's tilting her head looking to the left. And with this, I was reminded with this like little pearl earring, there is a Vermeer painting called Girl with a Pearl Earring. It's beautifully lit, and it's kind of, it's not, her head is not tilted, but it's upright, and it's just reminded me of that picture. So, you know, it's a very, very kind of classical pose that we're actually trying to draw. You know, it's been, beautiful women have been painted for hundreds of years like this and drawn and now photographed. So you're actually part of a very, very long artistic heritage. So this strap now curves. Again, don't do it flat and straight. Just slight curve as it goes over the shoulder and down the back. And you can see how that curves, comes down through the 125, 225, and then really curves at the back underneath the hair. And then there's a little bit indicated there. Now we can follow that curve down underneath. I'm going to build up the line of her hair a little bit more. We can do the inside part of the strap. That curves down, comes down there. So now we've got the kind of hemline as this curves down and around. And then we've got the folds, the creases. So we've got one there, one that goes right through the 65 285 line. And then on the front of the top, we've got the curve that follows this construction line down, and then you've got the very edge of the top that comes out and comes down there. And so there we've now got a complete outline down, ready to be filled in. Now that's absolutely fantastic to have all of that down in about 50 minutes to an hour. And I've gone kind of slow just so as you can follow and build up your drawing as well at the same kind of time and pace. Just drawing a little line in there for us as well. There we go. This is just looking, but again we'll just build up with the shade and the shadow. So now I need to rub out a lot of these construction lines. So again, I'm using this Mars plastic, and I'm going to hold the paper so I've only got little bits in the corners. Actually holding the paper on. So me actually holding, but I'm not holding the paper directly. I've got the cover sheet that I use, and that means I won't kind of rip the paper off by pressing on with this rubber. Again, this is quite a tough rubber, and it's just one that I've used for years and I really like. And it's just great for getting large areas dealt with quickly. But because it's so chunky, like I've just done now, I've just obliterated some of her hair. But like in her arm there, it's great for that big space. And in that triangle there, and down here. Now, I've also got a Mars plastic in a kind of pen. And that allows me to get in these kind of more tighter detail areas, like around her ear and where we've got the earring coming down. And where I've put the light construction lines, even inside the lips for the shadows, it means I'm not going to lose all the work that I've put in. So that inside that cheek area there, and the bridge of her nose and underneath her eyebrow, it means I'm able to remove the construction lines very simply. And even there in the hair, I can pull them out, but obviously the hair will then cover over that detail again. But it just means I can erase all of the bits that I don't need. And this is another reason why, if you put your construction lines on and your grid lines really light, when it comes to removing them, it's a doddle. So, quite a few lines to remove. And we're getting there. Now, I also have this electric one. And this is so fine and small that it means I can get in really tight places. Now, I do have very short rubbers. So on the back of these technical pencils, there's a very tiny rubber. And so you can get much smaller rubbers that will allow you to remove in very tight spaces the lines that you've put in. But these electric rubbers are fantastic because you can just gently press on and just hover and then just bring the eraser down, and it does the work for you. It's just fantastic. Again, I've got this guideline now. I'm just taking that out right next to a hairline. Again, another one here, right next to a hairline that I've just put in. If I'd have used the Mars plastic, it would have just rubbed out the actual drawing line that I have put in earlier as part of my drawing of Ariana. So there we're now pretty much covered in a lot of rubbing out. So I'm now just using this big brush to get all of those little bits of rubber off. I remember when I was learning to draw, I'd do this and I'd just brush it off with my hand and you'd smudge your drawing. And then you realise that you've actually just brushed a load of rubbings out onto the floor. So then you'd have to sweep them up again. So just collect them on a piece of paper. It's nice and simple. It's easy to do. So now I can come in because I want the image to be clean in a certain number of areas. And because I've removed all of the rubbings out that we'd put in, it just means I can actually see where else needs rubbing out. Right on the forehead. Inside a hair. On those highlights. And that is pretty much it. So that's the outline down, and next we're going to shade it in. Well, not shade it, we're going to shade Ariana in, which is just fantastic. But I hope you've enjoyed that, getting the outline down. That's your foundation, and that's the hard work done. So anyway, we will now start to shade in the picture in the next section.